Okay, I'm sitting here with my dad, Robert Raymond Monroy, and gonna ask him some questions about growing up and moving around and starting a family and all that. So, first off, your mom and dad, my grandma and grandpa, your side of the family, his name is Renee, right?
Right.
And what was her name?
Carmen.
Carmen. And so, where did they come from?
My dad was born in Guatemala, Central America.
Uh-huh.
When he was 16 years old, there was a ship left Guatemala. He might have been a little older. He might have been closer to 20.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a hired hand to load whatever goods there was. He used to maintain a living by working La Finca. The finca is a farm. It's producing vegetables or whatever they grow, And one of the business owners took him under his wing and brought him to Santa Monica, California.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow the people that were on the boat themselves, the officials, asking everybody for their papers, they stamped his passport as a visa-like.
On accident or something?
Well, it wasn't an accident. They just gave it to him.
Wow.
But the uniqueness is my dad did become an American citizen at the age of 60, I think it was. And he was so proud of it. I didn't take it. I didn't take it to mind that the reason he was proud is because he didn't have to read it in Spanish. He read it in English. He taught himself to read and write English and all that good stuff.
So he came from Guatemala.
Right.
And your mom?
She was born in Arizona, but my grandmother, Genoveva Salais, was born in Chihuahua.
Chihuahua, Mexico.
Chihuahua, Mexico. Raised my mom and her sisters, my mom's sisters, in Arizona, a place called, I don't recall the name of it offhand. It's Globe, Arizona was part of it, and then they moved from Globe to, I want to say Benson, but I don't remember exactly. And then they came to Los Angeles, and my mom started working in a factory, a sewing factory, like they're making dresses and stuff.
Yeah.
And my mom was very friendly with a lot of Jewish ladies because they both worked in the same factory.
Yeah.
So before I knew it, my mom knew a lot of Jewish words, and she knew how to cook Jewish-like, and
Wow, cool. Yeah, so you had some Jewish influence on your upbringing because of the people she worked with.
Well, actually, yeah. In her context, she taught us a little bit of what she knew.
Yeah.
But I grew up in East Los Angeles, which was like the mecca of all the immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
So consequently, everybody was picking up everybody's little languages. I spoke a little Japanese in my time, and Russian. There was Russian gangs in East LA at the time. This is back in the 40s.
So you're talking about when you were really young.
Yeah. I was born in 1938.
Mm-hmm.
And we got in the war in 41 or somewhere like that.
Yeah.
I remember the air raids.
Yeah.
My dad had a Model T.
What did you guys do during the air raids? Were there shelters?
No. We cover our windows with a dark type of curtain or light or whatever. And we had these little Bunsen burner looking things, and just put on a little light or something. And my grandmother used to take in a lot of foster children, so we'd all be there in this big old kitchen. My dad had a house moved from, he told me Hollywood. I actually don't know where it came from, but it was a 2-story home. And it was plop in the middle of this land here in East Los Angeles. And it was big enough to where they had a living room, a dining room, a den. It was 4 bedrooms, 3-car garage. I mean, it's huge.
This is in East LA.
Yeah, it was huge.
So all of your early life was lived. Am I to assume that all of your early life was lived in East LA?
Yeah. They used to call it Belvedere Gardens.
Belvedere Gardens?
Yeah, but to me it was just a ghetto, which I didn't really call it a ghetto. That was
it was East LA.
Yeah, when I moved away from there, I realized that hey, there's Mexicans all over the damn place.
It's not just in this little place. So what kind of work did your dad do when you were young?
Well, my father was a hustler. He would. What he learned how to do was be a bartender, a barkeep, and a janitor. And he got real good at all of them, and he would work them all. And he wouldn't want me to do janitor work, but I used to beg him and cry, "Take me with you, take me with you." But to be honest with you, those mops were heavy.
Yeah, especially for a little kid.
One thing I can't relate to you, Rob, is my dad did a group of clinics, the Ross Luce Medical Group, and one of my favorite things was going to the lobby and reading all the posts in Life magazine. The only thing I would do is empty the trash cans.
Yeah.
And then after I did that, maybe I'd clean the mirror in the bathroom or both bathrooms, male and female. I'd go out and read the Post magazine while my dad was working out with the buffer and the mops and stuff. I'd mop too, but not as often as he liked. I was only, 9 years old, 8 years old.
So are you saying that you got some inspiration from that reading?
Oh, yeah. Well, what I realized is there's life outside of East LA, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I mean, come on. I talk about one of the favorite, I can't think of his name, I always forget his name. What was the name of that artist back in the 20s and the 30s? Americana.
I'm not sure, but a famous artist.
Yeah, and he was known throughout. Post magazine used to have him on their cover.
Norman Rockwell?
Norman Rockwell,
okay.
He was the man. And I was in awe. I was in awe that all this life around going out there, That's what gave me my start to Wonderland, knowing about other areas, not being stuck in a environment that it's all concrete.
So East LA, at this point in time in history, is known as kind of a low income area with lots of gangs and stuff. And that during that time, was that the case, or was it different?
It's always been the case since I was there. And I was just after the Zoot Zoots were the early 40s. The late 40s were we call them Vato Locos, but, they were Pachucos, bad guys, What it was is a bunch of guys that hang out with their friends, smoke dope, pot. The pot that they had was nothing like they have today.
I hear.
I mean, today, it's probably be equivalent to salvia, whatever that weed is that the kids smoke, So what was happening then, everybody was, they were brotherhood because they all smoked the same, crap.
Was there, well, since you were a Mexican American and you lived among Chicanos and the police, I'm assuming...
I don't like the word Chicanos.
Okay.
That gets my crawl. To me, it relates to the word chicanery.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me.
Well, to me it does. It's like pecun.
Chicanery?
Yeah, there you go.
So there's a lot of Mexican Americans living in this area. And the police, I'm assuming, were mostly white.
100%.
Okay.
So were the judges and the mayor, and I mean, what it was all these brown faces under the guise of official. Well, let me give you a concept.
Mm-hmm.
My dad made sure I got good education, so they sent me to a parochial school.
Yeah.
In the parochial school, can you imagine all these little brown faces up on stage singing? When Irish eyes were smiling. So, you got a concept of where we were. And plus, we got the rulers in our arms and,
So Was your family really religious too?
My mom was.
Uh-huh.
She was trying to push us that way, but what she didn't know was I was rebellious, and
Uh-huh.
I love women.
Yeah, yeah.
But-
So what was like your school days like? How was going to school in your early teens, your adolescence there?
You mean prior to teen or during my teens?
Even before, you could tell me about before that and during.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I'm a people person, and if I like you, we're gonna hang out.
Yeah,
And a lot of the guys that hung out with me, we're all like brothers.
yeah,
We all hung out together. Guys would like drinking the priest's wine when the priest was turned around,
You were an altar boy, right?
I was an altar boy, yeah.
Yeah.
But the problem was I wasn't white enough to be an altar boy on a consistent basis.
Mhm.
I was chosen randomly. And I'm sure it wasn't because I didn't speak Latin. Because a lot of the other guys, Ronald Harrison didn't know how to speak Latin, but that little blonde hair, blue-eyed kid, he was always up there at the right time,
Yeah.
But, those are the days.
Yeah, I can imagine it's changed since then. I hope a little bit.
Well, we lived in an area that was predominantly brown,
Uh-huh.
but it was so sporadic because we had Czechoslovakian. My best friend his dad was from Czechoslovakia.
Uh-huh.
Boy, they made some good wine. Potato wine, Actually, I think it was called a liqueur at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to have some good times.
Alright.
I grew up with Japanese Americans. All this time I thought I was speaking to a Japanese American because they have Issei, Sansei, and Issei means when you're born there and you come down here.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the first generation.
Yeah.
And then they have Sansei, Ichi ni Sanchigo. Ichi ni Sanchigo, that's 5.
So there was a large Asian population.
Oh yeah. A lot of them were from Hawaii, though. See, that's why it was a little precarious because the mainland from Japanese guys had different words for different things, and the Hawaiian guys had different words. It's colloquialism, just different words. There's a word I'll teach you in Japanese.
What's that?
Kotonk. It's a Hawaiian word, but it was spoken by a lot of Japanese Americans, from the island.
Is it a slang word or?
Well, it means dumbhead, and in Japan they call them baka, dumb, But in Hawaii they call them kotonk.
Kotonk.
And the kotonk, and the way it was explained to me, you ever hear coconut when it falls in the ground? So I thought that was cute,
So a dumb head is a kotonk.
Yeah, and the proper dirty way of telling you in Japanese is "Pakatari shimpo," you dumb dick.
All right. So I'm gonna pause this and then I'm gonna ask you some more. Hang on a second.